This is the plaintiff, Catherine McNeil. She says her little innocent Chihuahua named Peanut was savagely attacked by the defendant's big, vicious dog, injuring her severely. She had to spend 3 days in the animal hospital. The defendant refuses to do the right thing, and she's suing her here and now for every single penny of the $1,891.53 she's owed. This is the defendant, Donna Vergadamo. She says she highly doubts there was a dog attack at all because the vet bill didn't say a dog bite occurred. The plaintiff has no idea how her dog was injured because all the vet bill says is tissue damage. The woman's trying to pin the blame on her, but is barking up the wrong tree because her dog did not get out on the day in question. So there, she's accused of causing a dog's injuries.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff says her Chihuahua named Peanut was attacked by the defendant's big dog, and it was vicious. But the defendant says she doesn't even believe there was a bite. It's the case of you're going to shell out big time for hurting Peanut.
Thank you, Douglas. Catherine McNeil, you are suing Donna Vergadamo, and we're just going to refer to the other person as the neighbor for whom you have power of attorney. Okay, and we'll get into that in a moment. For $1,891.53 in vet bills that you incurred as a result of the neighbor's dog getting out of Donna Vergadamo's yard, correct?
Yes.
All right, tell me what happened.
We just moved into the neighborhood in April 15th, and our mailbox is at the bottom of the hill. So for the afternoon walk, I would walk down the hill, pick up the mail, and then walk around the other way. So it's a circle past the defendant's home. And there was always 3 dogs behind the fence, and they'd start barking. And Peanut and I always crossed.
Peanut's your dog?
My dog.
What kind of a dog is Peanut?
Chihuahua.
Okay.
We'd always walk on the other side, always leashed. And this day on August 10th, when we came around, the dogs were all barking, and Peanut...
Are you walking across the street from where the defendant's house is,
Yes.
or are you walking on the street? You have a right to be on the street.
On the street. There's no sidewalks.
Okay, all right. That's all I want to know.
Yeah.
So you're in the street, where
Yes.
in front of where the defendant's house is, and then what
Yes.
happens?
The dog...
How did the dog get loose?
It jumped the fence.
Oh, it jumped the fence.
Yes.
How high is the fence?
I have some pictures of the fence.
Okay, let's see it.
There's...
What kind of dog, do you know?
I have pictures of the dog.
Do you know or no?
No,
All right.
I really don't know.
And what does the dog do?
The dog, this is the pictures of the fence.
Okay. The dog does what?
The dog grabbed Peanut towards the hind end and started shaking it in its mouth. So I then, the leash has a big plastic handle, and I was trying to hit the dog with the end of the leash and started kicking at it. The dog released Peanut. Before I could scoop Peanut back up, the dog grabbed her again and started shaking her again, and then finally released the dog. I was screaming. I was, doing everything I could to...
There's some pictures of a loose dog. Is that the dog?
Yes.
And then when did you take those pictures?
At the time of the attack.
Okay, so just to point out that the dog was loose?
That what was the dog, to identify
which
the dog.
it was. And okay. Is this a picture of a different dog?
Yes, that's
And then
dog.
this is the fence is like falling apart. What's going on? Is this your yard?
Can you see that picture, ma'am?
The fence isn't falling apart. That's not.
This is...
I'm sorry, hold on.
That's not my. That's. I have pictures of what the fence looked like.
Okay, is this your house?
That's my house.
Is that fence?
There's a fence there, okay? And what the fence that you're looking at that falls apart, that she
It's
said
falling apart because as I'm seeing one, yeah.
Okay, that is on the other side. That has
On
nothing.
the inside.
On the inside.
Yes, of course, but it's falling down. Why is it falling down?
Because I had it up by rocks. It's on the inside. Like, okay.
I know. Why is your fence falling apart? Because the worry is that you have 3 dogs there and they're going to get out. One of these dogs got out. Whose dog is this?
I've taken care of these dogs for 3 years and none of them got out.
Well, until today, until they do, right? Until the day in question. Is this you take care of one neighbor's dog?
Yes, because I had the fenced-in backyard, and
So we thought?
my dogs have never gotten out. The owner of her house has a fenced-in backyard. She used to push rocks.
You're referring to Mabel's owner?
Yes. And Mabel was loose in the yard all the time.
In your yard?
No.
In her
from
own yard?
her own yard. She used to push
When you say
stones.
loose, you mean she would get out of her yard?
Yes. She
So
wasn't
as a
getting out
precaution
of-
to stop that, you started to allow Mabel is a dog,
Yes.
to hang out at your house?
To hang out at my house.
Because Mabel gets along well with your dog.
Mabel
Is that a
does.
picture of Mabel?
Yes.
Okay. So did you take your dog to the vet?
Yes,
Okay.
I went home. Peanut was bleeding. So there was blood on me. There was blood on. I had an open cut. I got home, and the first thing I did was call the animal control. And then Peanut was just like hiding in the other room, and I knew, she wasn't walking. This was serious. So I called the vet.
Took the dog to the vet.
Took the dog to the vet. And
Okay. So what happened at the vet? Do you have the vet bill?
Yes.
May I see it? So what did they do to her there?
There was about 18 stitches. They stitched up the outside. They put in a drain. Okay, so there's 2 vet bills.
From 2 different visits?
Yeah, the first vet bill, she was in the hospital for three days. They said that the first couple of days are critical because usually when a big dog meets a little dog, the little dog does not survive. And then she was home and the stitches fell out, so we had to bring her back, and she spent another night where they restitched her. I also have another picture of the fence because the defendant that following weekend fixed the fence. I took a picture
May I see it?
of that, and this is a healthy Peanut.
Okay, talk to me.
First of all, I wasn't home. Okay? I wasn't home at the time that the incident took place. When I left for work at 9 o'clock in the morning, okay? And Mabel was not in my backyard. When I came home from work, which was around 6 o'clock, Mabel was tied on a leash in her backyard.
What happened with the dog? Did animal control get Mabel and...
No, animal control never quarantined Mabel.
That wasn't my question.
Okay, so if you have a fence, are you still automatically responsible if the dog gets out?
I think you're always responsible for your pet. It's your animal. You got to watch out for him.
Well, enough said. Going inside the courtroom.
How did Mabel get from being loose to being tied in her own yard?
I don't know.
Okay, but you do know now, because now you have seen pictures that Mabel was loose. And the pictures were taken when she had a motive to take them, which was when the attack happened. So you know Mabel got loose.
But she didn't get loose from my yard. She could have gotten loose from her yard because she was never in my backyard.
According to you, it was from the yard that had the fence broken that's been fixed, right?
Yes.
Look.
It's an 8-foot fence, Your Honor. That is an 8-foot fence.
Ma'am, look, the dog is out. She sees the dog come. She is the only eyewitness who says the dog came from your yard. How would she know that you're babysitting Mabel, all of these time that you've had the dog in your yard, all these other times? She doesn't know that. If the dog came out of her own yard and you should be out of the lawsuit, but the other person should be completely responsible, the neighbor who you're here to represent, the neighbor should be completely responsible. If that's the case, what a coincidence that she happens to say that the dog came out of your yard and your yard is where the dog's been for a long time. What are the odds that she could just make something like that up? I mean, come on.
But I didn't give anybody permission for the dog to be in my backyard.
That day? Just
That
every
day.
other day. All right. One of the ways you defended this case is to say that there was not even evidence of a dog bite. Where did you get that from?
I got that from my vet.
Are you kidding me? There was surgery because there was a punctured stomach.
but it could have. When I talked to my vet said that these injuries were not caused by a dog bite. These injuries could have been caused from the dog. There's a lot of rocks. The dog could have rolled over in a ditch, and that's what I was told by the dog officer.
Can you prove that?
I have a witness that the vet said that too.
Where are you pointing behind you?
Right here. She was with me when I went to the vet because I couldn't get information from her vet as far as the dog bites go because it was not my dog.
Right, but all you need is her giving permission. Did you ever speak to her to say what up?
A couple
Maybe
of
not in
days
those words,
after, a couple of days after Well, between that, I found out that it wasn't her dog.
Okay. Well, did animal control do anything?
They were trying to get a hold of either one of them.
So did the animal control ever speak with you?
Yes, animal control called me like about 3 weeks later.
Had she approached you, or you had
No,
not heard
I
anything?
never knew
You didn't know
none of
anything.
this.
Okay, so they call you.
I called them back. The story I got from animal control was that Maybelle chased the dog and chased the dog into a ditch. That's the story I got from the dog officer. And there's a lot of ditches around the neighborhood.
That's not okay either. I mean, you say that like that's okay. That's also not okay.
But it didn't. Why am I being responsible for it?
Because Maybelle hangs in your yard. She says Maybelle came from your yard. You admit Maybelle hangs in your yard. You're not a neighbor saying, what the heck, I have nothing to do with this dog. You're a neighbor who every day is doggy daycare in your yard because the dogs get along, and she is testifying, and she's the only human who was there, that it came from your yard. If it came from the other person's yard, why would she say it came from yours? She has no motive to do that. Jeez.
Your Honor, can I say something? Maybelle
something else? I'm going to insist that it makes sense, and that it not just be like it could have happened with a saucer's going to come from outer space. Go ahead.
Maybelle does not hang around in my yard every day. She may be over there once a week or twice a week.
It's a good thing you fixed the fence, because apparently the fence is not sufficient in its prior state to be able to keep the dogs in. I am ruling in favor of the plaintiff in this case in the amount of $1,891.53. Good luck, folks.
Thank you.
So the plaintiff prevails. Ms. Vergadamo, if you step over here, please, let me just ask you a quick question. How do you feel about the outcome here? I know you were trying to get something across to the judge.
Well, it's not my dog, and I'm being held responsible for a dog that's not mine.
But you know the circumstances make it look like the dog was in your yard and could have been, because he usually is, right?
It could have been in the next yard. The yards are so close together, she could have ran from...
You explained it to the judge. She didn't buy your story. That's the way it is.
I wasn't there, so how am I supposed to...
All right. Sorry very much. This way, please. Now the plaintiffs are on their way out of the courtroom. Ms. McNeil, how is your dog? That's the important thing.
She's good.
She is good now?
Yeah, still terrified to walk down the street.
Yeah.
But she's getting through it.
Okay.
And you're right, that's the most important thing.
That's good. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And that'll wrap it up. Harvey, your turn.
I got to say, you a lawyer, by the way? Well, you nailed it, because if you have a dog that is behind a fence, but the dog gets out, it means something's wrong with the fence, and if the dog bites somebody or does damage, you are responsible.